early interest in my career and a great passion for technology and wanted to know how things work within the technology landscape. And this curiosity drove me to explore this further. Additionally, there are few leaders whom I closely followed. They inspired me a lot in terms of their career moves, their stories, their career choices which they have made, and with a bit of guidance, expertise, encouragement, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by World Development Corporation. I am Rajesh Joshi, uncovering some great achievements and contributions of unsung heroes inspiring others. Business transformation, which is part of the latest tech revolution, is led by some and accomplished by few. And amongst those few, Mr. Kishan Mulchandani is one name. With nearly 2 decades of experience, out of which he has spent 5 years at IBM India Private Limited, he has made transformative changes as its global automation leader. We're glad to have you on today's show, Mr. Mulchandani. Welcome.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thanks for the introduction.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. Mr. Mulchandani, to kickstart this discussion, you've handled various technical and non technical responsibilities throughout your career. It requires a wide skill set as well as a lot of dedication. There has to be some form of inspiration early on that set you on the right path. Could you let us know what the inspiration was?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm more than happy to share that. So, this is how I started, right? I had an early interest in my career and a great passion for technology and wanted to know how things work within the technology landscape. And this curiosity drove me to explore this further. Additionally, there are few leaders whom I closely followed. They inspired me a lot in terms of their career move, their stories, their career choices which they have made, and with a bit of guidance, expertise, encouragement, right, uh, gave me a lot of inspiration to move forward and do something around technology. Now, I had an opportunity to explore this formally when I took over automation leader for my practice. I was more into service delivery oriented role, wherein I was managing large service delivery for multiple industry client. And when this opportunity came knocking my door, uh, I was like, okay, I'm on for it. And that was the start for me. So again, start was from the scratch because for my practice, we were exploring the automation. I started engaging with the communities such as tech groups. There was a professional group. There was a lot of workshop and seminars which were happening around the automation around that time. And additionally, I also engaged with other functions. One good example will be the HR. HR had a good penetration in the automation, right? So that was one thing which I happened to learn in terms of what they have done. And that helped me to understand uh, how technology can really complement your processes and transform your client, right? So that helped me a lot. And I felt that there was a lot of process of inefficiencies within my process, which I witnessed and believe that if right solutions through technology are applied, certainly we can do a lot and we can solve a lot of problems for our client. So that's so sum it up. Uh, I think few leaders inspired me. Technology, innovation, right? Few client process inefficiencies which were in place. All these inspired me to reinvent myself, innovate, and take up the technology portfolio under my kitty.
Well, fantastic, fantastic, and that's a very superb start, if I must say, to this discussion. Uh, the most important point that I gather from whatever you have explained is that one is follow your heart and follow what you like, and not just follow, but try and understand the nuances of what you want to do, learn them, and get inspired by people who have actually been successful doing it, and also keep learning from them. And
Yeah.
that's really fantastic, Mr. Mulchandani. Your
Thank
early
you.
experiences as well as your current accomplishments are really great. You carried out several large transformational projects. I would love to know the most prominent ones and also the way you planned and accomplished these.
Sure. So I can pick many because I have deployed like 100 plus automation projects,
My word.
right? And but yes, I will pick one of them, and this really has a great story, right? And how we started, this client was a manufacturing client. We were doing some deep dive analysis on the automation around their processes within the supply chain management. And
Mhm.
their purchase order processes was very inefficient within the client ERP system. When I say inefficient, in the sense, there were a lot of checks which used to happen right from the time a requisition is submitted in the ERP. From the
Mhm.
time it is received by the buyers, there were like 35, 40 checks which used to be done, very manual, very tedious, right?
Okay.
So that's how the process was. When we are looking at this process, we kind of made a high level analysis that certainly this has one, highly inefficient, and a very good scope for automation because it is very administrative. But idea was just because it can be automated, just don't go ahead and automate, right? uh,
Mhm.
you don't want to automate a bad process. That's not the idea, because when you do a value proposition, when you do an impact analysis, right, all these things play an important role in terms of whether you have automated a bad process which after 1 year might shut down or might be replaced, right? So where
Right.
is the value proposition overall? It is not there. So what we did, we took our proposal with a process re-engineering idea to the client. When I say
Okay.
process re-engineering, is basically I would simplify, eliminate the waste in the process, standardize the process. When I say standardize, this is a global client. The process variance was very high at regional level because there was some amount of regional control as well within the processes. So we made those element of changes and proposed those changes to the client. And client was wanted to be an early adopter of the technology. They fully supported the automation, and they also discussed on the line of what is the value which I'm going to gain from that. So certainly that was also done from the analysis perspective. And finally, I talked about 35 or 40 checks, right? We got it down from 35 to 40 to around 25 checks, which
Okay.
itself was a huge achievement. And that would not have been possible without client support. So
Right.
at every step of the process, including the stakeholder was very important. Stakeholder communication was very important, and that is something which we continue to do, and which gave us a lot of confidence to the client as well, that okay, they really want to turn this around. And they also lined up their regional process owners, their global process owner, in terms of whatever support is required from the change management effort perspective. They are fully going to support this. So that's how the start was. It took us 2 months to change that process, and then slowly we began the project, bringing in the team of process consultant, engagement manager, delivery resources, developers, right? And create a to be state, which is how would your future state would look like.
Right.
And once we did that, we went live in phases. We kind of did iteration, MVP 1, 2, 3, and slowly we covered around 40% of the volume to start off with in 3 to 6 months time. And once that was done, we did not stop there. We continue to monitor the volumes
Mhm.
in terms of how much of exception is still being handled by the human,
Right.
right? We monitor those exceptions, have a discussion with the client on those lines, and continue to bring in more volume under automation. So, and by the end of year one, we were at like 65% automation completed for that very client. So which itself was a huge achievement. Other than that, if I have to talk about uh, overall cycle time reduced by almost 50%. They were 100% accuracy, zero error. Productivity increased by 50%. So these were few of the metrics which really delighted our client. And this is how we started on first project, and we moved to other 3 or 4 other projects for this very client. So wow, a great telling story for this client in terms of what we did for them.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing such a landmark achievement, Mr. Mulchandani. When any tasks you manage, some of the complexities you have to oversee are risk mitigation and interaction with global teams.
Yeah.
Besides, apart from quality, compliance is another area you have to focus on. I'm sure that there are simple solutions for such complex processes. Could you share them with us?
Absolutely. Since I can make it complicated, but yes, there are simple solution. As you said, what are the simple solution? I would answer to that point. I will break it into 3 or 4 parts, right? You talked about global challenges, right, in terms of interacting with the global team, right, and then few of the risks and quality and compliance related element. So first and foremost, I think global team often consists of individuals from diverse cultural background, and
Right.
these cultural differences can like influence your work style, your decision making, your attitudes toward authority, right? If somebody is sitting out of India is trying to control the team based out of Europe or North America, right? So I think very important for me as a leader to uh, foster culture awareness. I need to be aware about their culture. I need to sensitize in terms of uh, their culture. I need to there has to be a mutual respect, right? And I need to have a culture of inclusion and respect, right? So when I say culture of inclusion, basically making them feel that they are part of this team, right? Including them in all the decision making, right? So that's one. This plays an important role in terms of this relationship with the global team working successfully or not, right? And then effective communication is essential for collaboration with the global team, right? uh, Often we are sitting remote, there hardly any FaceTime connect with them. So leveraging technology for real-time collaboration really helps, right? And transparent communication practices. So those are simple but effective method, I would say. And then comes the later part of what is it, the quality control and the compliance, right? So standard operating procedure, I pay a lot of attention to standard operating procedure because SOPs are one. If those are defined very clearly for your processes, right, there is a consistency in the quality. So what happens is that reduces variability and help team understand the expectation,
Right.
whether an experienced team member or a new team member, right? When they have a standard operating procedure, it helps them a lot in terms of managing and understanding their processes and understanding what we have committed to our client, right? So that's standard operating procedure is very important. Quality control checklist, use checklist during key processes to ensure that all quality standards are met before moving forward. Because
Right.
this, though a simple tool, right, you can do it through a tool, you can do an Excel based quality checklist, but it can significantly reduce errors if that is followed diligently. Because tool can automate documentation and reporting, it can reduce manual effort, right? And then the last piece is more of a regular training and update. uh, so training session for employees on a compliance requirement, on the integrity aspect, uh, and process related training, it has to be done on frequent basis. One, a refresher has to be done every year. This keeps everyone informed and reduces the risk of non-compliance. So that's very important as well. And
Right.
once these are implemented, you have a standardized framework. Uh, to systematically manage a lot of things and prioritize wherever you see or identify wherever you see there is a potential risk element coming into picture. So those are few of my simple methods, but effective in terms of working with global team, managing the risk, compliance, and quality aspect of it.
Great, great. And useful insights from a seasoned expert, I must say. Mr. Mulchandani, leadership is one quality that you regard very highly.
Mhm.
What is your advice for someone to develop it?
So leadership to me uh, is more of directing, inspiring someone, motivating,
Mhm.
influencing people, right? And that helps to achieve the organization's strategic objective as well.
Right.
Now, there's one thing, often leadership is confused with management. Now,
Right.
these two are very different things. Management is more of a position, and leadership is more of a trait.
Mhm.
Uh, because leader is someone who is followed, right? Right?
Right.
Because he does something very differently, right? He has those skill uh, which makes other to follow him. That's what leader is all about.
Right.
And management is more of a position, more like to manage the entire team or entire set of process. That's what management is all about. So I believe, first and foremost, to develop leadership skill, right? Strong communication skill is very important. Whether verbal or written, these are very essential for leaders. They should be able to convey their vision, goals to the team members. They should have a practice of open and transparent communication, and with the communication also comes the second part, which is listening. Right, often half of your problem gets solved when you listen to the other party, right? So listening is very important in terms of what other wants to convey, because uh, there might be a few right messages which come across, and if you don't hear them right, often we end up taking a wrong decision. And then comes the learning and development. Organization look for leaders who have a growth mindset, who have a commitment to continuous learning and development. Like, I don't want to boast about it, but look, if I had to look at my journey, when I took move from service delivery to a technology leader, right? uh, Somewhere I had shown that interest, that accountability, ownership in terms of managing things, right? So that's a good example, because if you don't have a growth mindset, if you don't have a commitment to continuous learning and development, and today's world, it's all about how you continuously learn and apply those learning to your work, to your job profile, right?
That's
So that's important. Now, other than that, one more point which I would like to add: uh, developing leadership skill doesn't come in 6 months' time or 1 year's time. It is an
right.
ongoing journey. It
Right.
requires a lot of dedication. It requires proactive approach. So, education, mentorship, then your practical experience, and seek feedback. Very important. Regularly ask for constructive feedback from your manager, from your peer, from your team members, and that will give you some visibility, insight in terms of your areas of improvement. So I think these are few things which you can follow, and that will help you to become a leader.
Great, great. Mr. Mulchandani, from the discussion so far, I have just picked up a few points. You please
Mhm.
feel free to correct me or add some more. But these are the highlights that I'm actually taking as of this moment, and I'm 100% sure that all our viewers are also taking down notes. The
I'm
most
sure.
important part is that while you embark on a journey, one is at the beginning you mentioned that you embarked on a journey, you decided for a career path and decided that you want to be into this part of the technology process, which you yourself felt very strongly from your heart. And I believe, yeah, and I believe that is something that has actually kept you motivated, if I may use that word, to not just look at whatever job role that you were in at that particular moment, but also beyond that to try and understand what next can I do to better my position, to improve my chances of being a leader or growing up in the hierarchy of the corporate hierarchy, and at the same time add value to yourself as a professional. I mean, I find these qualities as really outstanding qualities in a leader.
Yeah, true. Thank you for that. And yes, you said it right. Self motivation plays an important role. Uh, so yeah, you have to be self motivated as well to take up few things and be accountable and take end to end responsibility.
And when the leader is self motivated, well, everybody else who is part of his team, and given that you're in automation, I am 100% sure you have a very diverse, category of people who would be reporting into you. People who are talking to the client, understanding his requirement, then translating it to the maybe the process owners, correcting the processes, then going into the writers or the code writers or whatever, the automation part. I'm sure, I mean, there are so many people, so many heads that you need to manage. And when you yourself have demonstrated that you are willing to take that first step, I'm 100% sure your team must be a really blessed team, reporting into you.
Yeah, and you said it right. You kind of gauge it because yeah, that's a dynamic of the team which I worked with. Right, they are the team which are experts in the process. We call them process consultant, and
Mhm.
they are a team who manage end-to-end project in terms of right from identifying the opportunity, taking it to a next level of discussion. Managing end-to-end project lifecycle, right, and doing a deploymentation and implementation. So, designing, implementation, execution, and ongoing monitoring,
Right.
right. So the engagement management, and then we have, as you rightly said, code writers, which are developers. So. Just imagine the dynamics of this team, which consists of process and technology and working together, so the synergies which we bring in, right, and value which we bring for the client.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I must really say, you must be definitely having a fulfilling day each day because there must be so many things you need to address. I mean, it must be very exciting in your space.
Yeah, very exciting, very challenging, but yes, I'm always open for the challenges. Every day comes with a new project. Not every day, I would say. Every month or every half yearly, you have 10 other projects lined up. So you have new challenges. But yes, that's how you learn.
Great, great insights, Mr. Mulchandani. Moving on to a slightly different question now, if I may say so. Your
Mhm.
next professional goal is to hold a boardroom position, and you're upskilling in international corporate governance. I'm curious to know which of your roles have led you to qualify for this.
Sure. So my 20 years of experience, right, with process and technology, and what I gained from the experience perspective. Uh, One, definitely strong hold on the process side, right? Exposure to multiple industry, whether I talk about manufacturing, whether I talk about FMCG, whether I talk about financial services or the retail industry. Primarily, I work with this 4 or 5 industry, right? So that gave me a lot of exposure in terms of how each industry works. That's one.
Mhm.
Now, I've held managing large client and multiple transformation projects and complex as well. So now working with these services sector with multiple industry delivery oriented role and wearing multiple hat,
Mhm.
by being a delivery leader to a technology leader to being a consultant for my client, working with sales and solution to bring or develop new solution, right, working in a global environment.
Mhm.
So that, if I have to put everything together, right, I have a desire to run these transformation initiative, work on a strategy rather than working on operational efficiency. Yes, when you work on certain strategy, you will have certain part of your processes for your client which become operationally efficient. Having said that, but the strategy is important, right? In terms of what change you want to bring into the client org, right? What is the impact 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, right? So working on these strategic project, uh, driving a cost reduction element. So these programs are targeted with the mindset of operational, having an operational footprints, front and back office, where success rests upon integrated coordination across multiple levels, not just one level, but multiple levels and multiple dimensions, whether we talk about senior leadership, whether we talk about business process owner, the VPs of the world, CIO of the world, right? And then comes your audit, controls, and compliance element. So multiple exposure, not only from the industry point of view, but with these leaders as well at multiple level and dimension. And then the final part is experience with the governance related framework, governance related to workforce management. So all the knowledge which I gained is definitely crucial for navigating the complexity of corporate governance in the global environment. And which made me think, yes, certainly, with all these exposure which I have, I should upskill myself in terms of how international corporate governance works. And that's, yeah, that's the reason where here I am today, trying to hold a boardroom position.
Great, great. And it is really nice to know how things like international exposure, dealing with compliance, can open doors to a whole new world of opportunities. Mr. Mulchandani, you've chosen Directors Institute as your knowledge partner for international corporate governance. How close have you reached to your boardroom goal?
How close? I think currently it is more of a learning, and that learning is substantial. There are a lot of things which I did not, might be I came across, but haven't had a chance to do a thorough learning, right? So that is what WDC is giving me, right? A lot of learning at this point of time. Certainly gaining insights through after hearing or seeing the industry leaders talks, which is kind of helping me and kind of giving me confidence that I can also be there, right? So that is one part of the story, and I will relate with an example. Uh, One of the course element, ESG, right? There was a comprehensive curriculum which were designed on the ESG by WDC, which gives so much of insight in terms of why ESG is important. Though in bits and pieces, I've gone through it as part of my professional career. But yes, it certainly gives you a lot of insight why it is important, how it can help you, why when you take up a board position, right, this element cannot be overlooked. Company will be judged, the shareholders, stakeholders of the company will be judging you, how you manage your overall CSR, ESG, etc. So yeah, that's my take on this.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Mr. Kishan Mulchandani. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Mr. Kishan Mulchandani. Your
Thank
career
you.
journey is fantastic. One thing I've personally noted is that one should not limit oneself to one quality or role, which you have demonstrated across your 2 decade long career journey. We expect to see an equal amount of disruption in the field of international corporate governance from you. And we wish you all the very best, Mr. Mulchandani, for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. I'm hoping for the same, holding multiple board position across industry and get some more exposure. Thank you so much.